Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Top 5 Records video, and another one in the series in which I'm taking a closer look at the full discography of Bob Dylan. And I have arrived in 1968, which is actually pretty interesting. I did not know this album existed until 5 years ago. Now, I've always loved Bob Dylan, but growing up listening to Bob Dylan when I was 15 or 16, I basically listened to his 60s albums until this one. Um, Basically, what I heard was everybody loved the stuff until Blonde on Blonde, and after Blonde on Blonde, he had a uh, motorcycle accident. So when a friend of mine started to get into Bob Dylan about 6 years ago, he asked me, what are the great ones? I said, well, I do know Blonde the Tracks is good and Desire is good, but his 60s ended Blonde on Blonde. So a year later, he said, have you listened to John Wesley Harding? I said, no. It's a 60s album by Dylan. I said, you're kidding. I said, no, seriously. It's a 60s album by Bob Dylan. And then he gave me a copy. And I thought, what's going on here? So basically, Dylan released Blonde on Blonde, a epic masterpiece on 2 pieces of vinyl. He had the motorcycle accident and he went to Nashville. And while the world was changing late 60s and everybody was expecting he would come up with a new poetic, sharp, political, perhaps even masterpiece, he decided to make country and folk. Now, there are two country folk albums, more country albums, in which he just seems to have disbanded from the rest of the world and was doing exactly what he wanted. John Wesley Harding is the first of that, and Nashville Skyline, I'll do that in my next video, was the second. I've been listening to this album a couple of times. The first time I listened to it, 5 years ago when I got a copy, I really enjoyed it because I had this sense of a different side of America. I really liked the folksy tune, the country element in there. Old tales of people who were dead in my, I guess. Now listening again on it, I listened to a first Canadian pressing, which sounds very good. I have second thoughts. I do not dislike this album. I don't like it as much as when I listened to it for the first time because certain songs start to annoy me, and some songs are just, I think, not among the best. Now, I haven't done the full discography yet, so if I'm going to do a worst collection of Dylan songs, I might disregard some of these because we're going to get the entire Christian face. But I think The Ballad of Frankie and Judas Priest is amongst the weakest songs he has written. So simple, but there's also a certain arrogance to it, explaining a lot of things, the moral of the story at the end. Um, it's a little self-indulgent, may I say. Now, I can't say that's the entirety of the album because there are also very good songs. Obviously, All Along the Watchtower, which sounds good on this album, but the real power was added by Jimi Hendrix, and I even think the U2 version from the late 80s is better than this one, but it's a good song. I mean, and this is where a good song started. There are just some songs I never seem to get into. I enjoy John Wesley Harding. Okay. Dear Landlord, I think that's a nag. I pity the poor immigrant. I don't like that one. I do like I'll Be Your Baby Tonight. That's a good song. The Bell of Frank Lee and Judas Priest. Oh, it's not Dylan on his best. It's far from it actually. So the appeal of this album in its entirety, as it's um, well, basically the appeal is the cover. There's something simple. There's something like an old American photograph, like the picture was taken at a story or at a historical event, and you really need the stories to get the full picture. And this is a record with small stories. I do enjoy the sentiment. I just don't enjoy all the songs. I think this is one of the rare moments perhaps the first moment in Dylan's 60s, which just wasn't on top of his game, in which his pencil wasn't the sharpest. But, you know, I'm curious. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Leave a comment below, and I'll see you in my next video.